So welcome everybody to my presentation about lunar tourism. You can see here a beautiful picture that is showing what would be the dream actually, what we would all like to have once in our life, to have this possibility to go to the moon and to just lie and to watch and maybe to take also some pictures with an iPhone. Is it possible? This is a good question, and I will try to reply to this question now by showing this presentation. We can ask this question: lunar tourism, is it utopia or reality? Until now, we should admit that no tourist had a chance to go so far than to go to the moon and back. But things are going to change, and I will show you soon why. Who had this chance already to go to the moon and back? Actually, it's a different type of flights we can use to go to the moon. One of them is a circumlunar flyby, and probably all of you have heard about the mission Apollo 13. They were supposed to land on the moon, but because of explosion of of the oxygen tank, they could not land, and they had to turn around the moon and come back to Earth in order to be saved. This is what we call the circumlunar flyby mission. And what tourists will have soon the chance to do, it's exactly this type of mission, because you cannot think about a tourist landing on the moon right now, but to go and to fly around it and to come back is the option that should happen in 2023 or 2024. And one company is going to provide this exceptional trip. It's a once in a lifetime experience, of course. It's SpaceX, and you will see some more pictures just later on. And as a remember of the situation, Apollo 13, it was 3 American astronauts, James Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes, who all survived to this mission. It was a best success of NASA at all times. Second option is lunar orbit. And actually, who did lunar orbit? But all astronauts who already walk on the moon, plus 2 Apollo 8 and Apollo 10, which were the missions that were showing to NASA that it was possible to turn around the moon and to come back before to start the real landing, which happened with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin in July 1969. And we can see that 6 astronauts had this opportunity to go back to the moon and to turn around the moon. Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders. And Apollo 10, it was Thomas Stafford, John Young, and Eugene Cernan. And John Young and Eugene Cernan, they were able later on to land on the moon. That was absolutely miracle to go twice to the moon for them. Last part, lunar landing. This is what only 12 people on this planet have been doing until now. I had the privilege to meet 4 of them. It's it's Harrison Schmitt, Charlie Duke, Dave Scott, and Buzz Aldrin. All 4 of them I could see, and with some of them even shake hand and discuss. And I can tell you that when you are in front of such people, it's like to be in front of a book of history. You are so impressed by what they live, these people, that you are just not aware of the reality. You are in front of someone who walk on the moon. Let's say it like this. And what we see is that it was 6 flights to the moon which were able to land from 1969 to 1972. And only 4 of these guys are still alive, waiting to see who will be the next guys to walk on the moon. As I said, Buzz Aldrin, I had the chance to meet him in 2015 in Lausanne, Switzerland. He was still in perfect condition, absolutely aware of what he was telling and explaining, and he was speaking a lot about his experience. It was incredible moments to share with him. I met many times already Charlie Duke, who was flying with John Young on Apollo 16. He was the youngest astronaut. So one more time, to see such kind of people and to know that they went to the moon is giving you this wish to do the same, maybe not to walk on the moon, but at least to have this possibility and this chance to be one of these lunar tourists. And last year, I was lucky enough to see Dave Scott. Dave Scott is the last commander alive of an Apollo mission, and he was again with Charlie Duke in Switzerland, Lausanne. I met also Al Worden, who was a lucky guy who was flying around the moon in orbit. He did not land on the moon, but I think he had already a lot of chances to be where he was. And it's already a big success that I met him. And unfortunately, a few months later, he was not with us anymore. Charlie Duke, one more time. This is a guy, if you have the chance to meet him, you will see how he's nice, friendly, open. You can discuss with him. It's really someone that should not be missed in his life. Try to meet him if you can. There's a lot of astronaut Apollo shows where he's getting involved. And it's also possible to meet astronauts who walk on the moon by taking some VIP tickets. Just to give you a trick how to do it, because if you are in public, you will not have access to them. But if you take like VIP package, okay, you pay a little bit more, but you can reach them directly, talk to them, make photo with them, and it will give you also an excellent time. And what is funny is that one of my friends took a picture of Charlie Duke when he was making a zero gravity flight. And you can see that in his hands, he's holding my mission patch, Swiss Space Tourism. This is the one that I am trying to send to space with me or without me. Anyway, it should one time go to space. Harrison Schmitt, maybe you know about him. He's a one and only geologist who went on the moon, not a military pilot official, but the guy who was supposed to study the rocks of the moon. And I had again this chance to meet him, to shake his hand and to watch in his eyes. And I gave him my mission patch. So I can say that I nearly reached the moon by doing this. Okay, now back to the real lunar tourism. Who knows this guy? Yusaku Maezawa. It's a Japanese billionaire who dreams to go to the moon and back. But he not only dreams to do it, he is able to succeed in what he wants to do regarding to space. He's just back now from International Space Station, where he spent 12 days. He paid for his ticket to go to space on board a Soyuz rocket, and he invited one of his employee, let's say like this, and he told him, okay, you come with me, I'm offering you the ticket to go to the International Space Station. What will be your job? You take photo and video of me, and that's it. I can tell you that this guy has the best boss in the world, because to be invited to go to space, I think he paid minimum 35 million US dollars for his trip, and the guy was doing great job, because now it's hundreds of video of Yusaku Maezawa floating inside the International Space Station and trying a lot of experimentations that not many people have done so far except him. Okay, so his next goal after being officially an astronaut, since he went to International Space Station, is to fly to the moon and back. And how he should do that? He created a special program called Dear Moon. Dear Moon mission, it's a group of people who wants to take a rocket of Elon Musk, SpaceX, and to fly to the moon and to come back. But he did not want to make it alone. That's why when I said he's taking 8 people, it's not people just taken from nowhere. He took some artists. He took people who will be able to give back what they will get and what they will feel by being in front of the moon, behind the moon, and to watch it as if you were at 100, 200 kilometers of the moon. And this should be giving something like music, like painting, like photography, songs, whatever, all what an artist can do about the moon will be done after this flight. The lucky 8 are the people you see now on the screen. You can see that some of them are a photographer, YouTuber, DJ producer, photographic artist, filmmaker. It's all kind of people who are in the artistic side and who will create something following their flight to the moon and back. And this will be an experience that they will be able to share in all different ways of arts. And when are they planning to fly? This image, maybe some of you already know if you are connected with space tourism. It's called the International Space Station and Other National Crew Manifest 2020-2025. Actually, it's giving you somehow the list of who is going to fly to space, when, and with which spacecraft. And if you look around 2024, we have it here. You can see SpaceX. I will make it bigger. Here it is. In 2024, SpaceX and Dear Moon Starship should make a flight of 6 days, and it includes Yusaku Maezawa, the Japanese billionaire, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 crew members, space crew members. So it's already almost confirmed. I mean, if you look at the planning, they are supposed to fly in 2024, and they will be 9 on board minimum. The question is, will the spacecraft be ready on time? For the moment, it is not the case, but things can go very fast with SpaceX, as we have seen, and they are also very successful. So I can imagine that in 2024, such flight to the moon and back will be the beginning of lunar tourism. And we will have the chance to see it live because you can expect that it will be a lot of camera and video and webcam everywhere, inside and outside the spacecraft. And this is the spaceship they want to use. It's a big Falcon rocket. It's actually finished, but it needs to be tested in real flight conditions. And only at this time, it will be possible to see lunar tourism becoming a reality. Denis Tito, you remember probably this guy. He was the first space tourist ever who went to an International Space Station in 2001. And this guy, he is still alive and he's still in a good condition, and he wants to do it again to the moon this time. So he's also applying and could be also one of the people who will fly to the moon and back with his wife. So we will see if it will happen, but I think that it's the first flight to the moon and back is safe and everybody is coming home. He will do it on the next flight. This is something that they will probably have the chance to see. So Denis Tito has a dream, Yusaku Maezawa has a dream also. It's to be on this place, to watch the moon like this, to make drawings, to make video, and all what an artist can do about this trip to the moon and back. But again, I would say that it remains somehow the Graal, lunar landing. You can go to the moon and back. It is an option that is possible. We see that now we have the technology, we have the people who are chosen, we have the money behind. So we can launch a spacecraft and to turn around the moon and to come back. But what about lunar landing? This is a step that is much more far away, because now we are planning to send Americans back to the moon and to land with maybe some European astronauts also, but we are far away from lunar tourism. This will be a step that could be possible, but probably not maybe in 10, 15 years, not before. It's so complicated to do for tourists. Imagine how they will be able to deal with a lunar landing. I mean, you will need anyway professional astronaut with them to take care. So what I will say to finalize this part, you can dream big, dreams cost nothing, but you can also be sure that soon some space tourists will go to the moon and back, and this will be the beginning of real lunar tourism. Okay, this is the end for the first part regarding this lunar tourism, and now I will go to the second part, which is commercial space tourism. Just give me 1 second, please. Here we go with the commercial space tourism. Actually, you will see it's quite a visual presentation. Probably you already all know what I'm giving you for informations. Maybe not the prices, it's something special that I could get, but you will have a clear idea of what is possible or what will be possible soon. Actually, we are speaking here about Virgin Galactic and the Spaceship 2. What is special with this company is that it's almost 16 years now they're telling they are going to send some space tourists to space, but actually, they are still not doing it. Okay, his boss could do it by himself, and he was making the flight and several flights with some employee, but the real tourists are still waiting. So if you were 60 years old 16 years ago, now you're 76. So you can see that it can be difficult for those people to wait and not to be able to fly. And the price now increased. It's almost $500,000 to make a flight. And last point that is very important, this company is not crossing Kármán line, meaning that you are not above 100 kilometers. Officially, you are not becoming an astronaut. You are remaining below. It's okay for US regulations, but not for international regulations. So how it works, it's under White Knight 2, which is another aircraft. It's being dropped. They start the engine and climb to the maximum altitude they can reach. And you will see it's around 90, 80, 90 kilometers. and they cannot go higher. I always ask myself, is it because they don't have enough fuel or because the engine is not powerful enough? It's strange because when you are making such kind of spaceship, you are trying to get to space, not below. Okay, my personal opinion. So you have 6 seats on board that could be sold to space tourists. And Richard Branson, he was lucky enough to do it. Okay, he made his dream come true, but now it's 600 people and more that are behind and waiting also to make their dream come true. So I'm asking when will it be possible to do it? Hopefully at the end of 2023, what I heard. How it's working with Virgin Galactic. So as I explained, you have an aircraft that is taking a spaceship between his wings, and after it's being dropped, engine is started. It's going up to 90 kilometers more or less, and starts to descend after 3-4 minutes of pure weightlessness conditions. And the re-entry is done. Total length of the flight, it's more or less, let's say, 2 hours. They had already one deadly crash, as remembering in October 2014, due to the pilot error. So this can be also a risk to take an aircraft that has pilot in command, because as you may know, most of the accident in aviation and aeronautics general, it's due to human factor, meaning that if you put pilots in command, pilots can make mistakes. You use it for suborbital flights only, and it's below Kármán line. And the next one, who is it? Here we have a nice resume on the right side downstairs, Virgin Galactic, 90 kilometers more or less. And the next one, Blue Origin. Blue Origin is reaching 100 kilometers. And above 400 kilometers, then you need to count on SpaceX. Blue Origin, one special big rocket called the New Shepard rocket. It's absolutely great with this company because it's no pilots. So meaning that you can have technical problems, technical issues, but it's like an ejection seat. I mean, all capsule can be ejected with all crew on board, and you are landing on a parachute. So it's much more safe, let's say like this. But the flight length is very short. I put 10 minutes. It's between 10 and 12 minutes, meaning that you are just making a rocket like Yuri Gagarin maybe was doing, even if he went more far away than this one. But you will reach 100 kilometers, you will be in space, and immediately descending in free fall until parachute will open. And it's 4 minutes more or less weightlessness condition, and of course the overview effect, because you are going to space. To get the overview effect, you need to see the blue planet from Earth, and to get this flash of what beauty you have in front of your eyes. And price, yes, okay, price. Actually, I got an offer from Blue Origin. So technically speaking, I was ready to book the capsule, and they give me a price, but it's subject to NDA. It's a non-disclosure agreement, meaning that you cannot give it officially, but you can say it's 8 numbers, let's say like this. You can see the view inside the capsule of Blue Origin. These are not real astronauts. It was just pictures to present how it can be inside. But here, this is much more interesting because you can see Captain James Kirk from Star Trek. Actually, it's the actor William Shatner, of course, but he was more than 90 years old when he did this flight. So you can have a lot of chance to fly until you are retired, and even after, because he's in good shape. You see, he's happy, he's glad to be in space and to float weightlessness and to get the overview effect. So up to 92, let's say it's okay. This is a presentation, how it's going on. So it's really Alan Shepard, he made like this, let's say like this. He was taking off vertically with a rocket, flying above 100 kilometers and descending and landing on parachute, but on water. You are doing the same as the first American guys who went to space. And this one, it's a suborbital flight, which is flying above Kármán line, meaning that you will become officially an astronaut if you are coming back from this flight and the capsule is landing in safe condition. That's my goal, actually. I should say that I'm trying to make a flight with Blue Origin, and if I can find the correct sponsor or partner, then we will finance the flight. Nice photo that is showing the difference between Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. 80 kilometers below Kármán line, more than 100 Blue Origin above Kármán line, and more far away when you are extra rich, because it costs, let's say, $35 million minimum for one ticket to go to International Space Station. You can use SpaceX. And SpaceX, we are speaking about it. So they have one rocket that is being used. We call it Falcon 9. It's Crew Dragon. Price, okay, here I put $50 million per seat minimum, depending on the how many days you will spend also in space. You can make like a mission Inspiration 4 that you will see later. It's a private, totally private mission, and you can fly much more higher than International Space Station, and you are getting astronaut license also. Crew Dragon here ready for liftoff. And voila, I was speaking about the Inspiration 4. So it's 4 lucky guys. And you can see the second from the right. It's Jared Isaacman, billionaire, who paid fully the flight, meaning that his 3 colleagues, they did not pay. They were invited to fly to space, meaning that you don't need to be rich to become an astronaut. You can find someone, some sponsor, some partner, some friends who is ready to pay for your ticket, and then take the chance. Don't hesitate. Low orbit. This is how it should be as per this picture. And you will see after how it is in reality. Just to explain also that they had a problem during this flight because they lost not pressure, but restrooms. It was no more toilets working inside the capsule. So imagine that it's not very easy sometimes to go to space when the things are not going as they should. And this is the best picture I've seen actually of this mission. You can see Jared Isaacman on the cupola of this spaceship with the blue planet behind and the black of space. Beautiful picture. 4 of them all in orbit. I think nothing to say. Everybody's happy, everybody's smiling. When you are reaching this point, you are reaching your dream. I mean, somehow you cannot do anything better. And the Crew Dragon is landing into the ocean. But we have also some other companies that can help you to fly to space. Roscosmos with a Soyuz rocket. If you have enough money, between, I wrote here, 50 to 60 millions US$, you can buy your own trip to International Space Station and spend 8-10 days, for example, like Yusaku Maezawa he did. He paid his ticket, he invited one of his employees, and he had the cosmonaut professional with him. This is the 3 lucky guys. Alexander Misurkin. He was the astronaut, the cosmonaut, let's say like this. They spent 12 days during the Soyuz mission on board a real capsule, and all went perfectly for him. You can see he's sitting on the left side of the capsule. In the middle, it's the always commander of the Soyuz spacecraft. And on the right side, it was his employee. They reached their goal, International Space Station, which is actually the final goal for us. You cannot go more far away than the International Space Station unless you are doing lunar tourism. This is a happy billionaire entering into the International Space Station. He was the number 10th to reach this place, and his employee number 11. So what is the goal? Why you want to go to space? For many reasons, of course, but one of them, of course, is to get the overview effect. And this overview effect, you can get it from 400 kilometers, from 100 kilometers, from 80 kilometers. Whatever you are flying in space, you will get it because you see the Earth is round and not flat like some of the people are believing. That's what I said before. What's next? It's lunar tourism, planned in 2023 with a big Falcon rocket, 8 tourists. It's exactly what I was telling. So I'm just switching on. We have again this presentation that was speaking about Earth overview effect. This is the one that everybody wants to get now, because once we have overview effect of the Earth at 400 kilometers, you can have it from the moon, and the view is even much more attractive, let's say like this. And the next level also will be space hotels, because you know that some companies are working hard in order to create and to send to space a real space hotel, which is actually a commercial space station with several modules, but it will be able to accommodate tourists inside, and they will be assisted by astronauts, professional. Axiom is offering soon its commercial space station, for example. It should be operational between 2024, 2027. You can see here some of the view you could get from inside the capsule and how the different modules will be constructed. Bigelow Aerospace, they're actually already in space, because you know it's like an inflated module, meaning that it's very small when it's sent to space, but you put air inside and it's growing up, growing up, growing up, and it's giving you after a kind of module for the station. You can see it here, already connected to the International Space Station. And private space hotel with Orbital Assembly Corporation. This is a big project that will probably not take place before several years, but you see that the plans are ready and people are working for that. And who will also be helping space tourists? Actually, it should be 2023. China, because China now they have a space station. And what they will do soon, they will take space tourists and they will be able to fly inside the China space station. So this will be a future hotel for space tourists. This is the Chinese astronauts. They are already on board and ready to welcome you too. So as we saw before, lunar landing as a Graal, dream big,